It's going to fall for Ibrahimovic. Oh, come on! David Beckham. Oh, goodness me. There's Giacinzales. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Robbie Keane continues to captivate. Back from the depth. LA Galaxy level things up. It is over. The Los Angeles Galaxy have won their 6th MLS Cup.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Cosmos, episode 6. I'm Dylan with Mila and Dari as always, and Andrew is back. So welcome back, Andrew.
What's up, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah. Same as always. We'll talk about the match that just happened, LA Galaxy versus Minnesota, 2-2. And then we will talk about the Galaxy trying to get their first win in MLS play. But Andrew was there in person. So, Andrew, you want to take it away with your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, you betcha. Yes, I was over there up in Minneapolis for that game. Really interesting. Cool to see a new stadium. Always fun at Allianz Field. I didn't know that they had a giant loon statue, giant bird out front. So definitely appreciated that. Love a big bird. But yeah, it was a fun time over there. It was a little bit cold. My girlfriend and I were both underdressed. We became very Californian. It felt like 30, 40 degrees. And they had us up in the shade, but good game. One of our better performances, I feel like, so far this year. We've got about half of our goals all year in that one game, which was nice to see. But we needed it to go ahead and salvage those points. A bit of a shame that we were never leading at any point. But, I mean, I felt the Galaxy, they played their game. Each time I feel they look a little bit more comfortable. One thing I did think was interesting was the Minnesota fans booing Alde and Fagundes for getting, smacked in the face. I guess they just didn't like human reactions. I don't know. So it was interesting. Every time they got on the ball, it was the boo, boo, boo. And they didn't let it up, which I thought it was so early when it happened in the game. I figured at some point they'd get over it, but I don't know. They don't like it when you get hit in the face, I guess. I don't know. It was very interesting to see. I thought it was funny, but great to be up there with the supporters groups, getting those chants going away from home. But I mean, I don't know about everybody else up there, but my butthole was a little bit clenched, especially at the end of that game. Whereas you think of those saves that J-Mac made, that goal line clearance, and then Garces with that 90th minute equalizer. There's just a lot of emotions in that game. So, felt lucky, felt happy, I guess, to walk away with the point. But yeah, a fun game. Great to be over there, to be enjoying that cold, I guess. But I mean, what did you guys think watching it from home?
Yeah,
super frustrating with the first goal.
Yeah,
it
first goal.
Frustrating moments throughout the game, but
it felt like
we look like we're playing better throughout.
Yeah, it felt like a Galaxy of 3 years ago team where we dominate the whole possession, like we're playing well, and then fuck up defensively leads to a goal. But that being said, I mean, McCarthy was definitely at fault for that goal. I thought he redeemed himself later in the game. They had over 3 XG. And he came out with some crazy saves at the end there. So, I mean, I don't think it's time to sound the alarm bells for McCarthy, but I think it was definitely not fun to watch him spill that ball right to Yebo's feet. Yeah, that's harsh.
I mean, one of them plays in the Premier League.
Yeah, right. One's not an MLS Cup MVP is the main difference. No, I think I put up the team sheet here just so that we can kind of show. I thought immediately when it happened, it's like, oh, here comes the goal controversy. Like here we're gonna have this keeper controversy. Every week's gonna be like this now for the rest of the season. I mean, to finish with a 7.4 with the air directly leading to a goal is pretty fucking impressive. Yeah. You don't normally see that. He definitely stepped up at times. Like he's not in net. I don't think we end up getting a point. It is his fault that we didn't come away with 3 points necessarily. There is some give and take there of like, even if it was 1-1 and we had just, set up shop and just taken the point, it would have been the same thing. But I look at this game and I look at it's so interesting. Usually your best player doesn't end up with, the orange in the overall thing. And I think this game kind of highlighted some of the frustrations that Pex had to go through so far. I feel for him. I totally feel for him because it feels like a one-man army at times, especially in like the middle sections of games, like anywhere between the 15th and the 30th minute, and then that 65th to, right before subs come in. It's like, hey, you got to be hero ball right now, or we're not getting anything going.
It seems like a lot of teams have kind of found out how to mark Peck, especially without Paintsil on that other side. We have trouble. I don't think I haven't seen that overload with Fagundes and Peck like they did it with Paintsil and Peck. So, I mean, it seems like they're kind of playing it a little differently, which I think is interesting too. What'd you say, Mila?
Probably too much running for Fagundes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been saying this for the past couple episodes, though. We're going to get to see Paintsil play with him. So hopefully that opens up Peck a bit more. But I think you're spot on with what both you guys said about Peck.
It's tough. I mean, I feel like a 2-2 was well deserved. I felt like neither team really did
so crazy
enough in the game. Like, I mean, it was a penalty that really is just unfortunate for Yoshida.
Super harsh.
And then a given goal by McCarthy. I mean, but that's kind of been the summary of the first 5 games in this competition. And the first leg against Herediano is like this team just has mistakes in it. And the margin for error hasn't been there because they haven't had their 2 DPs.
Our entire defense had our highest ratings outside Ramirez and Fagundes by 0.1. Yoshida, which is crazy.
And Yoshida and McCarthy being in that conversation, and they both had errors directly leading to goal. Like that's, and we lost, and we drew a game 2-2. Like, I feel like that's a positive sign, right? If we're gonna be leaking goals but still doing that well.
Yeah, I agree. I want to talk about a tactical thing that we did. I know that Garces did end up scoring the goal, but in the position we're at, I'm not a fan of putting a 5 back out there late in the game like that. It is convenient and nice that he did get that goal, but the mentality behind it, behind the move it's frustrating for me. I think I don't know what you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the way the game was going at that time, it felt like a game that we could go and win. And then it just kind of after that we kind of just shut up shop, and within maybe 10 minutes we conceded that penalty. So it really felt like it was a backfire at the time. We got off lucky at the end, but I don't know. At the time, I was pretty upset with that sub as well.
Definitely. I think when it happened, we sent each other a message, like a defensive sub at this point in the game. It took me by surprise for sure, but I think when you look at the roster and who we had on the bench, I don't exactly remember who exactly we had, but it may be like you want to be more attacking for sure. You want to go chase that 3 points, especially when you haven't had any all year. But is there anyone else who's really who's there to make that happen? Yeah. It's like it's slim pickings right now. So maybe Vanny was looking at his bench and he wanted the most fired up guy to go out there and make something happen. And maybe it was Garces. We talked a little bit about him, how he's not maybe right now the most tactically astute, just the most high game IQ player, but he's a dog. He's such a fighter. The way you saw it in his celebration, like just the relief, I think. But there's just so much emotion in him, and he brings that out onto the pitch. And when you want something to happen, when you're down a goal especially, I think that's what maybe Vanny was going for, just someone to get some more bite into the team, and it ended up working out. But yeah, just to sort of touch on something else that you guys mentioned, those mistakes, it feels like did end up costing us the 3 points. But like Dylan said, I'm almost not too mad at that. Like the keeper lapse, I mean, we've had this conversation so many times already, goalie errors. It felt like St. Louis again, we were really dominating the game, but then we go ahead and shoot ourselves in the foot a little bit. But this game, it really felt like it was Galaxy's to win. We had almost all of the ball. We felt like we were creating any of the chances. I don't remember feeling too nervous watching that game. Like, oh my God, Minnesota are like, they're really like creating an avalanche or creating a bunch of chances. It really felt like we were in control. It's just those little things that I guess you could say in the moment shouldn't happen, but like the penalty on Yamane, even just one of those things going a little bit different. It's just those game margins, right? So it feels like we can get to a point where that stuff stops happening and we can start winning some points. And our play, I feel, maybe merits more than the standings or our point total is reflecting a little bit. So I definitely felt good leaving that because, again, it was an all Galaxy game. We actually created a lot of chances. We scored a couple of goals, but it's just we shot ourselves in the foot twice. So a little bit unlucky, but yeah, it felt like there was more in it for us, and we need more for us coming up against a big game on Saturday versus a tough opponent. But again, it feels like it's there.
I think that health has come around at the right time. I do want to give a couple of shout outs to just individual players here because there's been a couple that have really shined in this period of like kind of crap, which is like Aude, which was like, was he going to get his spot back? Nelson had been playing so well. Nelson now goes down and Aude is just taking the spot. It's
he's nailed it down.
To be fair to him, he's improved both offensively and defensively, which is insane.
Yeah,
he looks like one of our better players, or if not our best player right now. So
I 100% agree.
Props to him. Yeah.
For you to get entire, I mean, like Minnesota crowd, like that's kind of what they're known for. It's a very American crowd. So the flopping and the antics that a South American player that can bring to a game, like that was definitely what queued up the boos. I don't think it's a coincidence that Fagundes and Aude are the two people getting booed in Minnesota. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yamane is awesome. We're a completely different team with him in the side. But the actual guy that I want to just it's my favorite player on the team, and it's Barry. This guy somehow has just come away with goals and assists when we've needed him the most. You know what I mean? Like we're down in a tie. There's Barry. We're down in this game. He finds our center back. I don't know if that was planned, but it happened. He was there.
Yeah,
he made it happen.
He definitely meant that layoff. I think it was. It looked like a conscious effort.
Like he's just such an old school MLS player. Like it's not. I'm not expecting him to do anything crazy. I'm not expecting him to pull off the crazy skill or burst into channels and be the best player I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's a certain Alan Gordon aspect to him where it's like, hey man, we need something. Can you just do something? Anything. And he's been doing it all throughout the beginning portion of the season. And I don't know how many GA he's got currently. I think
I can check. You're good.
I was gonna say, I think I was like, if he can get us 10, like it's leaps and bounds better. Like we'll be a very good team.
He's already at least. Well, he had that assist. He had the goal against Herediano.
That's got to be at least his third or fourth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Ramirez. I'm going to. I will say shout out to Ramirez before I continue on the Barry thing because he's got 2 and 2, right? Like 2 in the last 2, and feels like he's kind of rounding into some form right as Paintsil's making his return, which is like that we were talking about. It could be fireworks between him and Peck. You know, you get the freedom on both wings, like to cross ball. Like that was a class finish to header it above the keeper.
And the IQ with that pass too, just to like put it in the area for him. It looked perfect.
To lob it like that. I couldn't tell which I liked more, the service or the finish. Both were really creative, I felt. Like you weren't expecting either of those, but it was exactly what we needed to put in the back of the net there, get us that equalizer. But yeah, it's such a good header. I
don't think anything else would have worked there. It was so perfect on every front.
To be synced in like that, especially with a new player like Ramirez, it's really nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Just come back as well. That's Yamane's first full start, first full 90 all year. So to see how synced up they are already is really great to see. And like you mentioned, Dylan, getting Paintsil back, making some more things happen, being more dynamic in that attacking third. It's going to be great, I think, for Ramirez especially, but I think for the team as a whole.
Agreed. I want to end this game with the conversation we've had at the end of pretty much every every review portion, which is like, who's your number one going forward? Has this changed at all for you guys? Are you still with McCarthy?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm in the same.
There's no way.
I'm in the same boat. I have this tweet by Alex Ruiz, who's awesome. And he's pretty much where I get all of my insights from because he does work nonstop is what it feels like. But this stat here, he just keeps the Galaxy in games. I was talking about like that margin for error player. McCarthy's been that. pretty much throughout the 2020s. I mean, he is single-handedly keeping the ball out of the back of the net, even when his defense isn't holding up their end of the bargain. And I thought he showed that today because we were chasing the entire game. And he's the reason. I mean, I know outside of the air, but he kept us in the game. If he's not in net, like I said, I don't think we come away with any point.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think that Mikovic had his chance and he fluffed it. I don't know. It hurts to say because I think there's a talented goalie in him, but I don't think he's going to get another chance. I honestly think going forward, we're probably going to sell him in the next window and just hold on to Marshakowski as our number 2.
Do you think he gets the start against Tigres?
No,
you don't think so?
I don't think so.
I'm a little thrown off at the way that this has all happened, especially with the way that it's been talked about, and so I can't. It feels very. It's funny because we talk about Chelsea and with our other co-host Grant on our other podcast about their goalkeeping situation and kind of the back and forth that they've been going through, and it kind of feels the same right now. And I can't sit here and be like, I know that McCarthy's going to start against Tigres. Like I just don't. I don't know.
It's so different. Like we want to go and do something in this competition. I feel like
exactly.
Club, where
it's not like
they're switching in Europa Conference leagues and FA Cups and Carabao Cups. So it's like they're lesser competitions in what they're trying to achieve as a club. And whereas with this competition, we actually want to go further. And it's not like let's just get some minutes for these guys.
I have a hard time thinking that we can just have a guy who's making that type of money and that we spent that much money on not get games before a transfer window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but I honestly think that Vanny would be more inclined to give him minutes in a league game that doesn't really. It feels more winnable. It doesn't really feel as important as these knockout Champions Cup games.
There could that's
especially
kind of
early in the season,
though. It's that there could be a level of like the league has now become more important because we've fallen. We're relatively far behind the rest of the pack, and we can't continue. I think the C.O.G talks about this a lot. You can't win an MLS Cup at the beginning of the season, but you can definitely lose it.
Yeah, for sure.
You can definitely lose, the standings race very early on, and that uphill climb. Like we don't want to be in a position where Ricky has to come in and be a savior, and there may be that level of like, hey, look, like John, we need you to come in here and we need to get points to just get us back to some form of safety, give us some buffer. Because I mean, looking at the standings, we're sitting in 14th. We still don't have a win. We did move up a spot in the standings, which is funny, not having a win. But
who's below us?
Sporting, which we had a whole Vermoose conversation. No idea how that guy has a job.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Andrew, you're the keeper here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I think John McCarthy is the one you want to start. He's just a more reliable pair of hands, and especially when you're going into a knockout competition, that's what you want to see. The only thing that keeps it in my mind is that we've always had that league keeper, cup keeper dynamic, and I think if you really strip Vikovic of any minutes of any starting position, it just sends a really negative message going into that transfer window, like you mentioned, Dylan. I do believe that's the plan, that we want to move him on, get a little bit of an ROI, maybe try to break even, whatever it is. But I mean, what message are we signaling to the rest of the world, I guess, if we don't trust him in the league, we don't trust him in the cup, we just don't trust him, but we want you guys to buy him for about $1 million, $2 million. We don't trust him, but you guys should. So the optics is a little bit interesting on how that would go. But again, we're trying to actually achieve something. Optics shouldn't necessarily be your first concern. And I'm someone who's defending Mikovic a lot, especially on this show. So it's interesting. I do feel a type of way. And like you mentioned, as a keeper, a couple of mistakes don't define you, but it does make it harder for your coach to validate you giving those minutes. My prediction would be, I do think he starts against Tigres. I feel like Vanny isn't going to completely give up on him, but he just has been relegated from that number one spot. Like you mentioned, Dari, that he's not the number one anymore. He had his chance. He didn't necessarily step up to it. So I think the next step down would be that cup keeper. And if still, that doesn't come through, obviously there won't be a cup for you to play in anymore. And I think that's pretty much end of your story. But for now, I do think he's going to get that minute. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see McCarthy there instead. So it's a super interesting situation, especially when you think about what you want to do in the transfer window with him. But I mean, obviously, as a Galaxy supporter, I want all of our keepers to be doing great if they're playing. Right. So I'd be interested to see that in that. And if he does play, I'm going to root for him. But, I'm going to be clenching a little bit again.
Yeah.
I see where both of you guys are coming from with this. I just find it really hard to take McCarthy out of goal because we just looked at that stat where he's basically like, we have an old center back pairing. They're going to get beat a couple times a game. And who are you going to be more confident with making that save? It's probably McCarthy. If we were playing a little bit better, if we weren't bare bottom and not performing, no wins, whatever, then I could totally see another goalkeeper coming in and trying to give him that faith like you were talking about, Andrew. But in this time when we're kind of at like, we've hit the ground level and we need to build back up, I think you need that consistency with McCarthy. So that's why I think it's probably going to be McCarthy. But you guys are probably, there's 50-50 chance at this point.
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if Mikovic starts that game either.
I mean, leave it to the Galaxy to have us talking about a goalkeeper battle when we can't fucking score goals.
Dude, it sounds so much like Chelsea.
It really does sound like Chelsea. Yeah.
I thought the dynamic of Martikowski coming in too would kind of make Mikovic focus up a little more. It seems like it's had the opposite effect and kind of made him a little more nervous to lose that spot. I don't know. That's what it feels like, at least. Martikowski is a good keeper. He was one of the best keepers in the league before his injury.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we went from like him like walking out and it was this big deal with him, and then the Galaxy almost doubled down on it. They were like, okay, we're gonna go bring in two other keepers that not bring in two other keepers, but bring in a starting keeper that totally could start for this team in a year from now. Like that. I think that's more of a sign than anything that they're like, yeah, there's no more fucking around. Like either you're our guy or you're not, and we'll move on. It's not the end of the world if you're not our guy.
That's a great point.
Anyways, let's go off of that game. Let's hopefully get into a game that matters and we can pick up our first win. Orlando. This is the least confident I felt in a game or about a game.
Yeah, I'm nervous for this one. Orlando's a good team. They've looked red hot to start the season.
They can score like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
They also concede though.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna bet the over.
Bet the over. Yeah. I think if we can play good defense and just stay focused the whole time, it'll be all right. Hopefully there's a little bit of added energy with Paintsil coming back into the squad. I have a feeling he'll create a good vibe at Dignity. So hopefully the fans can get behind him too and give him a little push there. But it'll be a tough one for sure. I really don't know what to expect out of our team anymore.
Yeah, same here.
Every time we have a prediction, we have a counter prediction, and it usually ends up somewhere in the middle. So
the one prediction that is true, this game will go over.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. If this ends 1-1, 0-0, yeah, both teams to score big time. I don't know. I'm nervous about it. I think the wings kind of scare me because we do like to push our outside backs up a lot. And then Pasalic on that right side for Orlando has been unreal. So I mean, he's I think who I'm most worried about. Especially on Aude, who's probably our weakest defensively.
Yeah, he is so fucking good. He's nuts. But I mean, like they have so much talent for going forward. I mean, they've scored the most goals in the league so far. They've beaten up on some
worst defense, which is crazy.
Yeah, they make every game into a bit of a basketball game. Like everything is very.
It's back and forth.
Yeah. It is. So I want to say in this game, it's don't make mistakes. but we have not shown that we can't make mistakes. Like, it's just embedded in every game. We haven't led in a single match so far. We've been chasing every game. This is not a game that you can chase.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to chase this team because they will run you out the park, especially on the counter.
It'll be another St. Louis game, I think, if we concede first, honestly. I'm afraid to say, because us bombing numbers forward against these guys is not going to end well, and it hasn't ended well for any team in this league.
It's so hard to say how we're going to play, though, when we haven't seen Paint with this side all season.
Right.
I would hope that we are a little more reserved with our fullbacks, at least one of them, and we either send one to overlap him or send one on the other side and not both at the same time. I think, I don't know. Marielle scares me as well on top of their right winger. So I think the focus for me is going to be on our center back pairing in this game. If they can stay focused and sturdy, I think we'll be all right. And then it just comes down to Paintsil, Peck, and whoever's at the 9, probably Ramirez.
It's going to be Ramirez.
It feels like you're playing against the 2023-24 Galaxy, where it's just outscoring everybody and not really, defense is the second worry. And to be on the other side of that, it definitely feels a little bit interesting, where we know we have to be defensively super, super sound, super, super solid. So interesting dynamic, I haven't really felt like we've had it flipped on us like that since we've been, champions. So interesting to be on the other side of that. But yeah, it almost feels a little bit like maybe a Nelson game, like you mentioned, Mila, having one of those left backs, right backs be a little bit more defensive. Nelson, I'm pretty sure Vanny said was day-to-day. He might be available, but I don't know if you're going to want to go with him if he's maybe like 50-50 there. So
I think it'd be absurd to take Audi out the team right now too, with the way with just everything he's doing for us. Even if tactically it makes more sense, I do think you can't do that right now. He's bringing up our team.
But yeah, it's crazy to think that. I mean, not too much time has passed, and all of a sudden we need to be this defense first team. It's not Galaxy. It's not in our DNA. But again, we talked about the Vancouver game. It felt like all 3 points were there. We just shot ourselves in the foot. But I feel, I don't know. You mentioned it, Dylan. Like, we haven't shown that we're error prone, but it feels like every single time we're getting a little bit closer and closer to being, error proof, not having those mistakes. But this is a side who's going to test you, who's going to try to force those errors out of you. So, it feels like a little bit it's written in the script. Definitely a nervous one. You guys are brave for coming, making that trip to come out and see it. I'll say that. But I think it'll be a good one. I think that Paintsil coming back is going to be a really, really interesting dynamic. If we do end up getting into that little bit of a shooting match, he's going to be a good weapon to have in that. I don't know if we necessarily want to be trying to outscore them, but it seems like that's what we're going to have to do. Orlando has always found the back of the net. Like you mentioned, highest goal scoring team in the league, but also they've conceded almost about as much as anyone else. There's one team who's conceded a little bit more. And so, goals are there on both sides of the game. If we get after it, if we, keep on controlling the game like we have in previous games, we've been on top of the ball, really dominating it. The best defense in that sense is attack, is to hold on to the ball. If we can sort of do that, maybe force Orlando to make some of those mistakes first, which I think with our play style we can, it'll be good. But Paintsil, this being his first game back, you don't really know what to expect from him yet. But it feels like he's up for it. We didn't rush him back or anything like that. He should be at 100%, should be super lethal. So I'm excited to see that. I do think that, we'll be able, this is a team I think we can compete with despite everything, that's there. But yeah, it's a nervy one. I don't want to predict what the scoreline will be. This is going to be a really tough one, but I feel like we're getting some of those big tools back, and yeah, I want to see how it unfolds.
I think there's a couple things to stick on here with Paintsil returning, and obviously we're all excited that he is. One, do we think he starts?
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't rush him back. I didn't listen to any of Vanny's availability, and I don't know if he mentioned that he's going to start. I know he mentioned that. I think I saw that he said that he was up for selection, but
they're not going to do that video and market him I'm back if he's not starting.
I think so too.
Okay, so we know that he's starting. I think my big question is, I know that Nelson's day to day and Aude's been playing great. We don't really know what the pairing of Aude and Paintsil looks like. We stopped seeing it about a quarter of the way through the season last year. It's not something that we've had to discuss because Nelson essentially came in and just was the perfect pairing for Paintsil. And this is the issue that I'm running into is like, if you're going to play Aude and Yamane, both of those guys get up the pitch. Peck and Paintsil don't work back a ton. I think one of, I don't know if Royce is available, but I'm assuming that Fagundes or Royce plays as well. Mm-hmm. And I assume Ramirez plays. And all of these guys don't work back as well as they go forward. And that leads me to think that I think Garces starts. In a game that I said I don't think we can have mistakes. I think that he starts again because I don't think you can play Zonka and Yoshida against this attack and not get burned to pieces on the counter.
I haven't been thinking about Garces, I'm not gonna lie. But in that sense, I think if anything, Fagundes is gonna drop into that 10 role.
I was thinking that too.
And then we're gonna play more of like a double pivot with 2 6s sitting a little deeper.
Yeah.
That would be
out of the guys you listed,
like
I
we
think
were saying,
he works a little bit. Sorry to cut you off a little bit.
No, you're good. But also that leaving one fullback back when we have another option up top, we don't need Yamane and Aude up there now that we have Paintsil.
But do you want them to sit back?
No, and they don't need to sit back. They just don't need to both be bombing up at the same time.
I don't know what that looks like because we haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think we've seen Yamane can do everything. If he needs to go up and play attacking mid for a little bit, he'll do that. If he needs to bomb down the wing and put it across, he'll do that. I've seen him step in and play that center back role, wide center back, when the left back goes up forward. So if we need to do that, if anything, it'd probably be Yamane. I don't know if Aude. I'm not very confident about Aude doing that. And since we have Paintsil there now and not Fagundes, and like you were saying, we don't really know how Aude is going to do with the overlap and all that. That's probably what's going to happen in my eyes.
Yeah, just to give, back up Dylan a little bit. When we started talking about this game, that was one of those things. Garces, his name did come up in my mind. I thought you might want some more legs. Someone who's great at the recovery. At the beginning of this season, Garces looks phenomenal, I thought. Just getting back that energy, covering Yoshida and just really out-muscling it for like everybody. I feel like nobody could get past him. The past couple of games where he did start is where we saw a little bit of that breakdown. But in my opinion, that was the first time I've seen Garces not look excellent. I thought, I don't know. Again, that beginning of the season, I thought he looked phenomenal. So it's hoping he can get back to that form. If he can, I think he would be a great tool in this game, a great asset. Go ahead and chase back those wingers. Really, just be a little bit of a brick wall. But I do think Zonka will start. I feel like that's been a solid. Maybe I see Garces coming in as a sub again. But yeah, just to give, back up Dylan. I
totally see where you're coming from. It's just with Garces, I think it's not that I don't think he's a good player. He's clearly just like a raw talent. In open space, defending, he's phenomenal. He'll cover all the ground he needs. He'll lay someone out if he needs to. That one-on-one defending or in like dangerous situations, that's when his head goes, and that's what's scary, especially in a team that scores a bunch of goals. So what you were saying, if he might come on for like the last 30, that's perfect. Against tired legs and they're trying to make something happen and he comes on, he's going to dominate. I have no doubts about that. Which I don't know if he can do a full 90 right now without making it like an error. Not a mistake. Mistakes are okay. Everyone makes mistakes, but an error that's going to affect our game.
Yeah, I agree.
It's tough because the best version of this team has him in it. I don't think that's a hot take or anything. The guy that I actually have on the back of this jersey, the entire second half of the year when I went to Europe, I was like, Dari, like, why the fuck is this guy starting? And I wasn't watching every game. I was like,
you gotta watch.
It's like, you don't understand, dude. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and then I watched one game and I was like, okay, I understand now. I understand it now.
It's leaps and bounds better than Neil, but all respect to Neil, but it was impossible. No matter how he played, there's no way you could play better than how Garces played last season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm struggling here, is because I can't imagine a world where you're one of your best players is on the bench for 3 straight games. That doesn't make sense to me. And for the same reason that we gave Fagundes the runway and we've given, Cerrillo the runway in these games, I have a hard time not giving, I think, one of our best players the runway to at least get back into form. And if you're going to pair him with anybody, Yoshida and him are very good pairing, and he might need the legs here. Yoshida's looked a little gassed at the end of these games, and I think if you could give him the ability to not have to track back as much, give him somebody who can, I don't know, maybe use his legs a little more, it could be better. It's also just tough because Zonka's played great. It's not like I'm saying that Zonka's been trash, and that's we wouldn't have this conversation if he was.
I do think it's hard to take that pairing of Yoshida and Zonka out the game when we don't really have any creators in the midfield right now. That might change with Fagundes in there, a little more creative, but I haven't seen anything this season that says otherwise to that. Because Zonka and Yoshida have been, the past couple games have been really good progressing the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
Really good.
We haven't
so
seen
if we're going to take one of them out and put
in
in Garces, then that's just one of them that is able to play that ball forward. And who do we have in the midfield? We're relying a lot on Fagundes, if that's the case.
I think Parente gets plugged back in, obviously, right? Parente gets plugged back in, and that becomes. I think Parente and Garces are kind of
Cerrillo, Parente, and Fagundes.
I don't want to see Fagundes, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think that the Paintsil move just moves him back. I agree. It's not that I don't like Fagundes. I just think that we've talked about him being a luxury player and him being the guy that comes on and changes games. I have a hard time wanting to remove Lepley from the team.
Yeah.
And so Fagundes becomes that's really the conversation, is like, does Fagundes play or does Lepley play? And obviously it's going to be Fagundes. I think where I'm at is I just would rather see Lepley play and Fagundes come in against tired legs.
They can both play. They can both be in the midfield.
But then you're not playing Parente.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But Parente didn't get the start last game. He started Winder over him.
I was confused why
I agree.
The odd man out, because I thought he's been great.
I mean, it could be something in training that we're not seeing also.
That's true. That's true. I mean, they put in probably Winder for the physicality aspect.
Yeah. I don't think this is a game for Winder, to be honest. So
No,
I mean, I could
definitely not him.
Yeah.
I mean, Orlando has held the more of the possession in one game this season. So they will play off the back foot. We will have the ball. So to your point, Zonka makes sense as well, just because he'll be better at. Yeah, there's a lot of. It's funny because we got Paintsil back, and it almost created more question marks.
Yeah,
it's almost like the preseason has started now, like 7 matches into the season, instead of it being like right at the beginning, because Paintsil didn't have a preseason, so this is now preseason. Like, that's how I'm looking at it. I don't know. Do we want to do a predicted lineup? Do we just want to make one?
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of built it out. We might as well just
actually say it.
List it out, yeah.
Okay. Well, we all said J-Mac in goal.
Yeah, easy.
Left back and right back, or Aude and Yamane?
Yeah.
Think so, yeah.
I think we all think that it's going to be Zonka and Yoshida.
I think so. I'm hoping so, honestly. I see no reason to change them.
Yeah, the image of Zonka putting in a great ball over the top, Paintsil getting on the end of it, either finishing it or putting a ball in towards Ramirez. But I see that happening so clearly, and I think, so I think it's got to be
Zonka.
Him and Yoshida on ball.
I just can't wait to see those balls put into the channel, and it's not Fagundes running into it. It's Paintsil. Yeah. The midfield, I think, is the biggest question mark because I don't really know. So I'll let you guys pick it, and then
I mean, Surreal's been a staple in our team for a while now, so there's no way he goes out. I think it's going to be Fagundes at the 10. I haven't heard anything about Royce, so I doubt he starts. I don't even know if he plays. And then Lepley with the two of them.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think
I
like
if
what Parente
started
does.
last game. I think I'd go for Parente, but Lepley has been solid.
Well, I think Lepley is more of a transitional player too. I feel like he can play both sides a lot better than Parente can. I like what Parente does, but he feels a bit more on the defensive side. And I think this is going to be a game that is back to front a lot. And I think that suits Lepley.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. This feels like a Fagundes Lepley game.
Yeah.
And then our forwards. I think it's the easiest outside of the fullbacks. It's Peck, it's Paintsil, and it's Ramirez. Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
That was the least complicated predicted 11 we've had so far this season.
We didn't even talk about formation.
No, we just knew exactly what we were
makes
doing.
the formation easy.
Yeah.
When we have two wingers at least.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
Wingers.
Yeah. I'm frozen again.
Yeah, you are.
It's my camera. I don't know what it does. I really need to add a picture to this so it's not just a talking bubble. But
at least you look super happy in the freeze.
Yeah, right. I did look ecstatic. It was like, oh, Paintsil's back. You know the LeBron meme where he's like, oh, I can't believe this is my life.
I want paint in my ears.
Like I said, we're gonna be huffing the paint this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
I needed echoing. I need the new single off the EP to echo 12th minute into the game. All the supporter sections going crazy. This is what we need to manifest for this weekend.
Yeah,
and everyone's waving a churro because it's Churro Fest.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was Churro Fest.
Dude, I'm so pissed that I'm missing it.
What is it like? First 1,000 in the stadium? Are we getting?
Yeah,
free
we're never
churros?
gonna get a churro for free. At least we're gonna have to buy them.
No, there's no way.
It's more than 1,000. I'm pretty sure it's more.
They said they're giving away 1,000 churros, which is not that much.
Yeah, 26,000 person stadium. They're only giving out 1,000 churros.
Yeah, of course.
Why did this need to be a night?
Okay. Star player prediction. Dari, we'll start with you. Then we'll go Mila, Andrew, and I'll finish it off.
Star player, I'm gonna go Peck because I think a lot of the focus is gonna be on Paintsil, and I think it's kind of set up for him to do what he did last year. I'll go with him as star player and 3-2 Galaxy win.
All right, Mila.
I was still thinking. When are you go?
Okay. That's fine. Andrew,
you gotta get it on the spot like me.
Well, I'm conflicted.
Well, just don't be conflicted.
Andrew can take up the space here.
Star player. I like Dari's call with Peck, but I'm gonna say Paintsil. I think it's gonna be the common pick, the popular pick, but he's maybe not necessarily for like a goal contribution or something like that, but just for what he's gonna add to the team. Having him back is gonna open up just so much down from the middle of the field to obviously the attacking third. So, I think Paintsil he's just gonna open up the game a ton. It's gonna change it. Really get defenders actually thinking about someone else other than Peck. It's going to be just great to see, defenders sweating again against the Galaxy, not looking so calm. So he's my pick. Prediction. Man, this is the part I wasn't looking forward to. I'm going to say a 2-1 Galaxy. I feel like we're Orlando, they've scored 4 goals a couple of times this season, but they've also scored just 1 a few times this season as well. So I think like I mentioned, we've been looking a little bit more solid, a little bit closer to being error proof. And like you mentioned, Dylan, we're going to hold on to that ball. So if all of that goes to plan and we look a little bit more solid just in general, especially with Paintsil there, I don't see us getting attacked as much. I feel like it'll be a little bit similar to that Minnesota game where we were on the ball. Minnesota, pretty much got gifted their 2 goals. I think Orlando is going to have a little bit more drive, but our defenders are going to be there. Zanka, Yoshida, they're just going to be there to snuff things out. maybe Garces comes in and, it's like a rabid dog unchained. He's going to, clean everything up all those last couple of minutes. So I don't see us scoring more than 2 just yet. I feel like maybe with a couple more games for Paintsil under his belt, we'll really get that goal scoring touch. But I want to say a 2-1 Galaxy.
All right, Mila.
All right, I'm ready
Is
now.
that enough time? I try to, tag it out.
I'm gonna go opposite end of the pitch from you guys. I think it's probably gonna be down to either Aude or McCarthy, especially with the right winger on Orlando. Aude is gonna have to be solid. I don't think he's got to be the best defender in the world, but if he can make life difficult for their winger, then I think he will have success in this game. Not really worried about the forward line as much. I think they will perform. I think seeing Ramirez with these 2 wingers now, actual wingers that are going to get him the ball or make space, are going to be great. Midfield worries me. It's been a worry all season, though, so I'll get over it. I'm going to go... Let's go 2-0.
Wow.
First clean sheet.
Shutout. All right.
We scored 2 goals.
I know
And
we
the
called
shutout- the shutout is-
score,
Yeah,
but
the shutout is crazy.
I'm manifesting.
All right, I'm happy that the vibes are more positive in this
Definitely.
one.
Looking forward to this game.
Yeah, Dari took my prediction literally word for word out of my mouth. Like it was 3-2 in PEX. So I got to be different. I got to change it up a little bit. I'm gonna go with my star player being Surreal. I think with the game being as open as I expect it to be and as transitional as Orlando likes to play, he's going to have to cover a lot of space and cover a lot of ground. And I think in the games that he's been at his best has been against teams that like to play in transition. I think of that LAFC game where he got his goal as one of the bright spots of his career. And I think this game is going to be similar, where it's going to be super open, super in transition, and he's going to have to lock up shop, especially if Fagundes is playing in the midfield with him. And Lepley. Like those aren't 2 athletes, right? So he's going to have to make up the athletic portions for our team. And then as for a prediction, they've lost 4-2 before this season. So I think we double our current goal tally on the season and we win 4-2.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
I'd love it. I almost predicted 4-3.
Dude, I could see this game ending 7-8 if I really wanted.
I don't want to see more than 2 goals scored on us. As long as we win the game.
I would take a 7-8 if I'm going to the game.
Yeah, I guess so. It's gonna put me through the fucking ringer, though.
Multiple hat tricks, like 2 back-to-back. Can't get myself to unfreeze. I don't know why it does it. Whatever. That's what you get with podcasts with me. You just get me freezing every once in a while on like the stupidest fist. Okay. You guys got anything else you want to say?
That's good for me.
All right, Andrew, plug yourself, and then we'll get out of here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we should have an article dropping tonight on Los Angeles Sports Nation. Feel free to subscribe for free over there. Catch our Galaxy coverage. You can find me on Instagram at NGFAndrew there on the screen. That's on Twitter, X. I'm always going to call it Twitter. You can find me at NGFAndrew at Instagram. We're Nuestra Galaxia Futbolera, a little bit longer, but go wherever, you'll find the links there. And yeah, looking forward to covering the season with you guys.
Heck yeah. Alrighty. Well, Clash of Cosmos, episode 6 in the bag, and we will see you guys in the next one.
LA, Highland champions. They're going to go alone. Still back. What a goal. It's 6. They just cannot stop scoring. The volley from Votto. Yes. San Jose carved open with a world-class pass from Ricky Pooch. Glittering Galaxy, and Landon Donovan is the match winner.